All right, it looks like we are back into game two between Execution eSports and Firestarter in the semifinals of the AD2L Season 9 Heroic Bracket. And we're going to have the first band coming out from Execution going to be Winter Wyvern. I am Darmin. I'm joined today by Llama Down Under, and I think she's getting something set up in her game, so I don't know if she's with us yet. But it looks like the game is underway, and we have the first bands coming out from both teams.
We're back with that. I am a little off on the ball. The game started a little bit, but don't worry, folks. We've got you. Once again, welcome to some amateur Dota 2 League action. We are in the heroic bracket, watching Execution eSports play Firestarters. I'm Llama Down Under. I'm joined by Darmin.
Hello, everyone.
And, yeah, I was just peeling some potatoes because I thought we had a few moments, but I overestimated my number of moments. So either way, let's get into this team.
Or underestimated your potatoes.
No, they were actually huge potatoes. I am planning on eating sweet potato fries, and the potatoes, the two I grabbed, were just actually like bigger than my hands. And I was like, okay, well that's a life choice, sweet potato. But we have a Meepo ban out. I actually don't think the Meepo was the problem. I think it was the Execution underestimating the Phoenix. And we're
I
gonna
agree.
See a first pick Rubik. Okay, I again am a little confused. Rubik Spirit Breaker, sure they're a powerful combo, but first pick?
I wonder if they're picking the Rubik and trying to bait Firestarter into picking the Phoenix and hope that Rubik can steal the egg? Question mark?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird.
I expect we'll see Firestarter pick Phoenix again. Like you said, it was definitely a force to be reckoned with in game one, so there's no reason not to go back to the well if it's working for you.
I always think it's not the best to pick the Rubik up so early. You give away a bit, and I think that waiting maybe for more to come out so that you know that you can actually pick up the Rubik. But it's not too important. Maybe this will be what they need. Maybe they just need a mid Rubik or something, you know? I think somebody has done that once in his life.
Yeah, we'll see, but it's going, like you said, it's going to give a lot of information to Firestarters, and now they're going to be very mindful of the heroes they choose and what spells that can get stolen from those heroes. So you have the Dajo and Shadow Fiend is the first two picks, and that's a relatively safe bet. You don't give away too much strategy. Sure, they know what your mid is, but Dazzle and his Shallow Grave is going to be useful in any sort of lineup.
Yeah, so final bans. So first of all, the Husker, obviously, because they're like, hey, there's a Dazzle picked. Nobody, I think, actually, it's really funny, is such a low win rate for teams against Husker. I mean, it's one of those heroes where, you know, I think Husker is known as a pub stomp hero, and then we see professional teams have trouble with it, and it's like, never mind. So, I always find that to be a bit funny. But either way, they've banned him, and now the Slaughter ban coming out. So I think they're just gonna pick the Phoenix again for Firestarters because they're showing they have no interest in the Slaughter.
And it makes sense. It's worked for them. Right now they have a Spirit Breaker who can eventually start to hit pretty quick, but if they get any other sort of disable behind it, and that's why the Winter Wyvern I think is the first pick here the first ban from Execution eSports, because what Firestarter liked to do before was I liked to run this 3-hero combo of Winter Wyvern, Phoenix, and Gyrocopter, and what they would do is they would cast out Winter's Curse, combine that with a Supernova into a call down, and pretty much all three of those spells would hit at the same time and just decimate a team fight, and it's such a large area of effect that no one could really stand up to it.
Yeah. And it's actually going to be the clockwork for them. I'm really interested as to why they decide on this one. It could just be it's a great way to kind of deal with Spirit Breaker, and it's someone who can actually TP in, maybe help out if that's coming towards the Shadow Fiend as a gank. Still, interesting.
Yep, deviating from their winning lineup from last game, so it's going to be a whole new game for us. It looks like both teams are, 0 for 6 so far out of the heroes that we saw in the last game. I guess there was a Shadow Fiend. We did see a Shadow Fiend in game 1.
An underwhelming Shadow Fiend.
An underwhelming Shadow Fiend, and played by Execution, not Firestarter, so it'll be new to Firestarter at least.
Yeah, Shadowfiend was dominating the net worth shot, I think, for the first 10 minutes there. It just didn't end up working out for them. So,
Yep.
10 seconds to go.
But let's see. Ember Spirit is what Execution's gonna go for.
5 seconds.
If this is a mid Ember Spirit, traditionally the matchup goes, if you're mid, you lose the lane, but you get a lot of experience. If you're off lane, you get a lot of farm, but maybe not as much experience. He is a hero who fears physical damage, so Shadow Fiend with that minus armor, with the hard right click, gonna be a bit of a pain. But just a clockwork to lock him down, not enough.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see another support hero coming out from Firestarter that's going to be able to either provide some silencing mechanics or some hard lockdown, maybe a Lion, or I wouldn't mind seeing like a Shaman, a Shadow Shaman here to provide some additional push against towers.
We're also feels like
There's
okay,
the
that's
Lion.
The lockdown. Yeah, that's the lockdown for making Ember Spirit more someone they can deal with, but Lion is very squishy, and it is something where I've seen this before. You might hex the Ember Spirit, his Flame Guard may still kill you.
Yep. But I think it's going to be more of a hex, get your distance, and let Clockwork and Shadowfiend take care of business.
So they're going with the Undying, and this is the beginnings of a Hell Lane. Spirit Breaker plus Undying should be able to secure kills, and if not that, they should be able to stop the farming from the safe laner. But it's entirely possible that Firestarters can go with an aggro try. I think they've got good sustain for it. And it's something, yeah, it looks doable.
Yeah, they can put that tri-lane anywhere they want to right now. And if you are on the side of Firestarter, who do you pick, assuming that you're going to have an Undying Spirit Breaker in the off lane? Who do you pick to fight into that as your hard carry? That's a tough one. I mean,
I don't know. It's like, yeah, as you said, it's rough.
Because they're going to be hitting you with the strength degen on decay and the 17% space cow.
You just Ricky and you just hide in the trees, right?
Yeah.
You just hide. I think
you just hang out.
Yeah, you dodge as much as you can.
And with the changes to Riki, where he has that boosted HP regen when he's invisible, it's actually I think that's a good call here, because then you'd be able to rotate your Lion Dazzle combo into the off lane, maybe support Clockwork a bit more, and lock down, or maybe just have him rotate wherever Ember Spirit is, and keep constant pressure against that Ember Spirit.
10 seconds to go.
I like the Templar Assassin ban out. I feel like, they're only really rocking the Lion for disable, so you get into a bad spot. But Gyro,
Dyer's pick.
it is something where if the Spirit Breaker charges into the Gyro early game, he's gonna have a bad time. But with an Undying to back him up, right, the Undying's like, yeah, you can use your Rocket Barrage on me, that's fine, I have 1,000,000 strength.
Yeah, and Decay is going to prevent Gyro from having that strength, so that charge is going to hurt. Unless they do something tricky with the lanes here.
100%.
10 seconds to go.
Execution. What are we gonna see out next?
Do you think that's going to be a mid Ember or a safe lane Ember? Because that's what's going to decide this last pick.
No, I think it's going to be a mid Ember. I don't think it should be
Agreed.
a mid Ember. I think that mid Ember is something where okay, so two thoughts. If the Spirit Breaker isn't dedicated to the bottom lane, it becomes more doable, because if Spirit Breaker is constantly charging Shadow Fiend, you can do something. But when you have a Dazzle as a support, it becomes rough, because the Dazzle can TP in, worst case scenario, throughout the Shallow Grave. I mean, as long as Dazzle is the first TP and it isn't the Lion or the Clockwork or whoever's coming in as backup. But it is something where I feel like an Ember Spirit safe lane is much easier to execute, and they will just win against this lineup. I mean, the Ember out carries a Shadow Fiend and a Gyro. Gyro's not actually that hard of a carry, since he only has 6 flat cannon shots every 30 seconds. He does deal excellently with zombies, though.
He does. And it looks like Execution's taken all the time they have and burning into the reserve time here to figure it out. But I'm with you. I think this Ember's likely going to be mid, so you'd look to the safe lane, and at this point they have a lot of options. I'm actually favoring Execution's lineup here quite a bit more. So they can pick up anyone that they want for a hard carry, and the Undying and charging Spirit Breaker and Ember Spirit with his Fire Remnants and his high mobility early on, as soon as he gets level 6, is going to be able to provide space for whoever they want to gather up as much farm as they need in the safe lane.
I just don't know for exit. I'm trying to think. So I'm trying to think of another hero that kind of ties this.
Stands ready.
That is not what I was gonna say. Ties it together. I mean, I can understand this a little bit. This is definitely a hero that can deal some with the minus armor. It's another run at your faces lineup. If they actually run this, I think they could actually run an aggro try potentially if they did. There are so many different ways I want this. Looks like it is going to be Undying off lane, but I would actually love to see Rubik spend Undying tri lane because I think that's really, really strong. But I do not believe we're going to be seeing that. So, sad days.
Sad. Oh, wrong key.
No.
Sad days
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah, now getting into it, after I take a big swig of water, gotta get ourselves ready for these 25-minute games. No, I actually think this one has the potential to go a bit longer. I am still worried because when you pick yourself a Sven and Ember Spirit, Sven is very kiteable. SF naturally builds into Scotty. Gyrocopter, he is barely ranged in that he's 365 range, but he does have to, he can use Flat Cannon and then suddenly become 1,000 range. Additionally, Ember Spirit is another hero who suffers from, if he's slowed, his Remnant is also slowed in its move speed, albeit the Remnant's already 2.5 times your normal move speed. But you basically can kite those two heroes. So I'm a little bit worried as we go into teamfight engagements, and I think it's really just going to be who out-executes. And last game, that was Firestarters.
Last game, Firestarter definitely had execution on lock, and both teams here looking to invade each other's jungles and catch each other out, but they're mirroring each other's movements, so they're definitely not going to find each other here.
Yeah. So we're gonna be seeing just these rotations. I mean, they missed the smoke missed. I really do like this though. ABC already starts with a pair of boots, so they want to be aggressive on this Lion, and I really do think that's the right choice. So, and there's also a super nice vision ward. I mean, you're against an SF, so it's not as good. You know, when you're the Windrunner, when you're someone else like that who needs to hit, or the Lina who needs to hit these uphill kind of skill shots, it's really nice. It's still good here too. It'll spot rotations, which is really scary coming out. But Dazzle already in mid. Husky, I mean, I don't feel like the SF needs help to win this lane, but he's getting it.
Yep, he's got it in spades right now. It looks like it's going to be a support Spirit Breaker hanging out behind the lines and a core Undying.
Yep. And unfortunately, Spirit Breaker has been standing right on top of a ward. They're going to see this coming a mile away. Husky does have... Oh, he has the Flame Guard, so there's going to be no follow-up. And of course, physical damage from the Dazzle here. Oh, that is all over the place. Unfortunately, it looks like Canada and my dudes not quite agreeing on what they're going to do. So that gank is going to fail. Undying on the bottom lane, I do feel like he has potential to go down. He actually skills Tombstone first. Very interesting game all around.
Yeah, I would not put points into Tombstone this early, especially over Decay. In a dual lane situation like this, you want to have that survivability, especially if you're going in there solo like this with no backup.
And because they've spent so much time attempting that gank on middle, we can see up top, this Clockwork's getting everything he wants and more. I mean, he has 2 CS already at 1 minute. That's not something you normally see on a Clockwork. So. Oh. Husky's thinking about going for it. He wants the backup. He does not have it. I mean, unless the charge comes from the far right, I think it's going to be spotted. But he could maybe do something to this SF. It's rough, though. Kupo is just standing nearby. And this is kind of funny. Kupo played the Meepo last time. Now on the Dazzle, stacking up the jungle. Not what I was expecting. Undying's going in ham on the bottom lane. Not quite sure what Doc Kite's plan was. And now I think he's going down. Gonna be a rocket barrage. Yeah, he has a lot of strength stolen, but I think that this will be our first blood. He could turn around and throw out a decay if he wants, but the Earth Split Spike's gonna come out, and that is our first blood. So a little bit of a misplay from the offlaner.
Yep, getting aggressive with it. He's not the Undying that he was playing 2 seconds ago, so he doesn't have quite the survivability. But in the mid lane, there's going to be another charge, and this time Husky does have his Searing Chain, so he's going to lock him down for a bit. But with Dazzle there, the Shallow Grave's up, and he's going to be able to provide the safety Shadow Fiend needs to not only survive, but get the kill against Husky.
Yeah. I think they might have been more served, and albeit this is a really rough one to place without being seen, but a ward here because now they know the Dazzle is always present there, but I don't think they previously did. And with the charge coming out on top, Magma, no, they're giving it away. I think Magma would actually stay in lane if not for the aggressive movements by Viking, but the Spirit Breaker gonna manage to charge through the cogs, then be pushed back, and that'll be the end of that. So, really, again, a rough start for Execution.
Yep, starting off 0-2 here.
Undying, he does have good levels on the bottom, not quite as good as, oh, actually he is a little ahead of the Clockwork, color me surprised. On the other hand, Ember Spirit is, you know, he's actually got 9 CS in mid as well, never mind, I'm surprised all around, not what I was expecting.
It's still early in the game, and there's all sorts of odd choices being made. The Tombstone with level 1, and it looks like he's going to try to put it to use here, but it's just going to be additional farm for Klaris here as he cuts it down.
Yeah, it's the second time we've seen that happen, and I feel like just little mistakes coming out from Execution, maybe being overly ambitious. As you said, it might be the new Tombstone messing him up. Hasn't played that hero since the patch. It's someone who hasn't been popular as a solo offlane for a while, and of course the Tombstone is much, much weaker now.
In the early stages, once it gets a little bit later and you can heal up the last hits with Soul Rip, it's still got some survivability to it, but level 1, level 2, especially when you drop it as aggressively forward as that's just an extra 100 gold going into the way of Klaris' pocket.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll be seeing ex-Viking doing fine on his CS up top, but nothing stellar, and the Gyrocopter, of course, dominating bottom. And we'll see him, even further along because of those 2 Tombstones. Now, I do think Execution, if this game goes late, they have it, but could just be another snowball, as we saw last time. And Magma, he is going to kill off Canada. Canada needs to use that telekinesis and lift away Magmas, but he's not using it. Really surprised that he didn't go for it. You're Rubik, you have instant cast point. Viking's going to get nothing, and Magma just got away with murder, quite literally.
For now, but my dude's just charging in, but it looks like Sven's going to back off and not even try to engage, so...
Yeah, he has no mana. There's nothing he can do.
Yep. And that was another charge out of Spirit Breaker that was...
In mid though, can he get it? Oh no, Husky, he's overstepped his bounds. The Flame God, it is still up. Can he get away in time? The long range raise, just as the Flame God's going down. He does have another Searing Chains, but the Dazzle is here as well. He can take about 3 auto attacks more after this, and he has no more bottle charges. He needs support rotation. This is gonna be a raise. It'll get him.
Oof. It's the Execution right there coming out from Firestarter. Just across all lanes, and it's given him that early lead once again, 4-0 at the 5-minute 30-second mark.
It's really hard to lose a game where you've won all the lanes. Like, it is just hard. So
it is.
So I'm not quite sure what's the play here. I think Execution, they may need to slow it down. It may be something where you go for 4-man rotations on this bottom lane just to get something out of it.
And I don't know that they've won all the lanes. I mean, in the top lane, you have Clockwork sitting at 1-0, like you said, getting away with murder. And sure, you have Sven farming here. He's got 24 CS versus the Clockwork's 16. But Magma hasn't been zoned out. He hasn't had a ton of pressure put on him, so it's not a completely one lane as much as mid and bot, but you do have these stacks in the jungles that are being called out. And I think once Sven heads into the jungle and cleaves those up, he's going to be sitting with a pretty penny in his pocket.
At the same time, SF has that for him as well, and as we talked about, I mean, I imagine this game, also different sides, but he could just go for an early mech. The Dazzle's actually getting quite a bit of involvement, so we might be seeing that there. But early mech on the Shadow Fiend, just push it on down, don't give Execution breathing room to get their lineup online. So.
And like you said, with the amount of carries on Execution, that may be the route they want to go here. Go with the early mech, the early sustain, the early team fight, which is what they did in Game 1.
Yeah. So, Sven, I want to talk item builds a little bit here, because I feel like he's got some choices ahead of him that are really difficult. Now, he can go for a Blink Dagger, but you're blinking into some scary stuff here. And it might be a game where he feels forced into that first item BKB, but of course when you go it so early, you end up with a 5-second BKB sub 30 minutes, you know? So I'm not sure what's the best play, and in the middle it looks like we might have a gank. But, yeah. they're trying to give it a go onto Husky. He's just gonna wander away. He is just shy of level 6, so this is excellent gank timing.
Yep, and they're pinging it out. They know the rotation. They see the Lion and the Dazzle heading into the top lane here. And as they leave...
Yeah, really well played. As they leave, gets up the steering chains. I think this is just a kill. He pops the DD, but there's going to be a Remnant Bomb. And finally, Execution get themselves on the board and get something. I mean, they do need to do this a few more times for this to work out, but... Oof.
Yeah, they were just watching those supports, and as those supports wandered into the jungle to hang out, and I'm not sure what they were doing up there. They didn't drop wards or anything. It left Shadow Fiend exposed for the charge.
Oh, we're also going to have a stun coming out of Magma. There's also the telekinesis. It's only going to keep him stunned for a little bit. He just has to get far enough away to use the cogs, but with the spend popping that, he might actually turn around and go for the kill. Where's the Fade Bolt? It's all cooled down, and Magma gets another kill. And now I think Canada's going to be the one to follow. He thought the Rockets were over. He manages to kill himself to neutral, so well played there. But didn't realize the battery assault was still going. Gets his TP canceled. Rough stuff.
Rough to watch, so...
I mean, I'm really not under stressing it. I do feel like this lineup of Firestarters needs to sign up for some other tournaments because Execution has gone quite far in a lot of open qualifiers that I've been casting recently, and Firestarters are pretty much dismantling them. Let's put it a bit bluntly.
So far, it's looking that way. Of course, the game's not over, and of course, like you said, Execution do have a pretty solid lineup as they go into the end game. It's just a matter of whether or not they can make it there.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a charge attempt onto Claws. This is going to be a super big dive and under a tier 1 where there could be a lot of TP rotation. They stop it at the same time. Viking in a lot of trouble, being slowed down, about to be putting cogs. He manages to get the stun up, and then he uses that war cry. He's out. I am actually really impressed by that play. I thought he was dead.
So some small victories coming out for them there as they're able to escape death in the top and bottom lane, but escaping death doesn't necessarily win you games.
At the same time, he is, you know, third on the net worth. He's, oh goodness, as I was about to say this, he's taken a tumble. It looks like he's trying to do what damage he can. Actually, they put the clock outside of the cogs, but with 2 range shearers pounding away at him, it's going to be no thing. And then there's the hook on Canada, of course, a telekinesis on cooldown for a long time, but I don't think there's follow-up. You can't heal bomb when your creep's on around, so it's going to be fine.
Yeah, but that's the Sven lost, and that's where I think Execution are going to need to put a lot of their eggs.
Yeah. So, Ember Spirit, there's another charge coming out on the mid. Ember just has to play it cool, not give it away too much. He's popped the Flame God. He's throwing out the Remnants, actually, and then he's going to go with the Searing Chains in a second, I have to imagine. But now he's auto attack and live dude soon to tomorrow. It's really scary. Oh, goodness. And now, finally, the Undying pops his head out. A little, too late. I feel like constantly Execution are coming in to these fights not expecting maybe so many rotations from Firestarters.
And those rotations from Firestarter have been on point there. You saw the double hero Earth Spike. Before in the mid lane you had Dazzle showing up just in time to Shallow Grave plus Heal Bomb.
Oh no, and Undying goes down to the bottom, tried to actually get a look-sees on that and clicked elsewhere, and now they pick up an invis on the SF, so that's rough. They're going on top though onto Kupo. The hookshot comes out and there's the time for Shallow Grave. They'll pull back Kupo. No, they don't manage to get him outside of that. And now with SF here to seal the deal on Viking, it looks like he's fallen as well. We're 10-1. Execution, they just can't seem to find anything at all. SF bottling up so that he can go for the kill, and he might just do it with auto attacks. There's the raise. Coffin in a nail in the coffin.
Yeah, like you said, it's those rotations. I mean, if it's not one of the supports, it's the Shadow Fiend. Everyone's just rotating to be a part of every one of these fights.
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't see a great way for Execution. They definitely have a lineup that takes longer to get online. They're almost 7.5 thousand gold behind, 7.5 thousand experience. Unless, it feels like, again, a game where it's Firestarter's game to lose, and Execution now, unfortunately, in the stage where they have to wait for mistakes coming out of Firestarter.
Yeah, I've been taking a look at Shadow Fiend's items here. He's picked up a Shadow Amulet, so it looks like he is going to go with that Shadow Blade versus...
When you're that far ahead, it seems like the right choice.
Yep. Versus the Mechanism.
Yeah. We're gonna have my dudes chillaxing in mid. He might try to set something up on the Shadow Fiend, but with just 2 of them against a Lion again, it looks like the lockdown will be there. And now Magma, he's playing up in top. Can we just talk about how a Clockwork is 3rd on the net worth chart? I mean, this never happens, and it shouldn't happen.
And it's because of those rotations. You can see here, he's able to just stand in front of these 2 heroes because he's got Dazzle right behind him. And he's playing...
Kite is 1 auto attack from going down, tries to turn around and use the decay, and it's not going to work. You were saying about in top.
Yep. Just him able to play so aggressive, so forward, straight in Sven's face, even with Canada sitting behind him, because he knows he either has the rotations or he has Kupo sitting here right behind him on the Dazzle, ready to protect him.
And speaking of Magma, he might just go for the hook shot. He actually splits the wicket. They're going to get both of these again. He's already got a blade mail up. They might pull Magma out of the clogged cogs, but it doesn't matter. And I mean, this is some perfect play, but I have to say, they saw all of that coming up, and now Husky, he's going to be spotted by the SF, who has his Shadow Blade active. Should just, oh, he's going for a Requiem of Souls. He should just go for it. He's going to auto-attack out, knowing that Husky just used a Remnant. He's going to manage to Remnant away, but I think that was a place, if any, to go for the Requiem of Souls out of ult.
And had that Fire Remnant jump not been there, that Shadow Raise was on the mark, so it would have got the kill, but... with the invis there, yeah, I think they would have been able to secure the kill. But I don't think he's too heartbroken about it. He's sitting number 2 in last hits and number 1 by a pretty large margin on the net worth chart.
He's 7-1. I mean, this is one of the things where, so last game when the Shadow Fiend went Shadow Blade, he actually was at the top of the net worth chart. It makes a lot of sense to go for it when you're so far ahead. And in this game, I mean, Execution, they don't have the gold to be buying sentries on top of everything else they need. Rubik doesn't even have boots. Undying has arcanes because of how dominated he got in his lane. And yeah, Spirit Breaker also ridiculously poor. He's actually picked up an urn. They're sacking this Rubik, and it's just rough.
And Spirit Breaker's not even level 6 yet because he's been spending all of his time hanging out in the jungle and doing this maneuver here as he charges around.
Same with Rubik. They're gonna go for a charge in. They of course know that the Shadow Fiend has used his Shadow Blade and the Spirit Breaker is gonna reveal himself, but there's no follow-up because, as we talked about, they don't have detection in the Rubik!
Oof.
One shot, basically. Oh,
ouch.
Goodness. Yeah, and now Doc Kite, he is playing way far up, thinks he's invincible, but that is not the case on the backline. Dazzle going in on my dudes, and now there's the dive coming out of Doc Kite. They actually end up not going for it. Rocket comes out, they're stealing a good amount of stats from folks, but in the mid, what on earth is going down? Husky, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He manages to get out of the cooldown, but now at Viking, he's in the one taking a lot of damage. Canada needs to lift Magma out, but it's going to be too little too late as the finger comes out. They've got a charge going through mid, cancelled as they hit Magma. I mean, I don't know what you do here. Oh, and Doc Kite, one more raise. Oh, the raise misses. Mercy shown by Shadow Fiend.
And for his mercy, he gets denied a tower. Tier.
Yeah, it's not right nice, and now we're going to be seeing people blinking around because, of course, this Witch Doctor already had the Blink Dagger. Will they finally get a return kill? Husky, he is in a good spot to do a good amount of damage, but there's weave falling on them, and oh, they managed to get the stun out on Magma, but there's the shallow grave. Viking, he's walking into too much damage. He's going to be a full Requiem of Souls on his face, and they still haven't killed Magma because the Spirit Breaker runs into it. 3 down, blind Requiem of Souls, and I don't think Execution's gonna have time to get online in the series.
Yeah. After that one, I think that absolutely cements it. It's 19-1. You had 3 heroes essentially walk up and hug Shadow Fiend as he was casting Requiem of Souls, and it just tore through him, yielding a triple kill for Shadow Fiend. Just he's sitting over 5k ahead of, right around 5k ahead of the Ember Spirit in terms of net worth, and on top of an 11-1-0 record.
Yeah, I agree. It's this Shadow Fiend. I didn't expect him to be the hero that kind of got out of control, although I did expect him to get a grand old start, but he is there. He's gonna have a Sanj and Yasha soon. I actually was maybe expecting him to just go casual second item, a Scotty or something to really just put the nail in the coffin, but he doesn't need to. He's getting off Requiem of Souls to kill everyone. He just auto-attacks people out of the Shadow Blade. It's not a whole bunch of extra damage, right? But it's killing them because they're so low right now. Normally you're like 175, okay. It's a bit, but it's not the end of the world. Here it is.
Yeah, and I mean, any right clicks he's doing right now is just carving through execution because they have no items. Spirit Breaker hasn't finished his power treads. He hasn't earned. That's about it. Canada literally has a branch and a tango. A single oh, tango's gone. He literally has a branch.
Yeah, it's rough. We've got a charge coming out on claws, but there is so much backup. There's actually going to be a Stormhammer thrown out on creeps, hoping to stun someone nearby. And the hook shot is going to be onto downtown, onto Husky, who's trying to dismantle the Dazzle. He's going to go it again. Oh, the people creep! Really? That was the easy camp. How is this happening? They managed to kill off Lion. It looks like Claws may be finally in a bad spot, but that's going to be demoralizing. He finally gets a kill, and the neutral gets it, and now Requiem Souls, I think, kills everybody here. Goodbye. Viking's still alive. Dot type throws out the casual dust, but you know, Shadow Blade's on cooldown, and actually gonna charge away from Spirit Breaker, so I think a better outcome than they expected, but again, Shadow Fiend finally shows up, kills everyone.
And it started out so good for him. Yeah, they had the neutral kill off the Dazzle, but they did pick up 2 kills themselves, and Firestarter just respond by killing at least 4 heroes, maybe 5?
Yeah, he should be able to get that last one, and if not, Magma has the rocket. Do they have the telekinesis? They throw it out. They finally kill off the Shadow Fiend, missed that bit, and now where is the rocket from Magma? It's up in 1 more second, but he uses it! Oh no, wait, that was the Rubik's stolen rocket. He's not going to end up using it. Magma is going to go down. An overextension from this lineup. I mean, this isn't the type of team you want to overextend into. They desperately need farm, and suddenly a couple of their heroes getting a lot of it. Sven, rocking 2k gold. Blink Dagger, yeah, he's going to go for it. It's still a rough game, but wow. What a sudden amount of gold lining the Execution's pockets.
Yeah. Sven picked up 1,100 gold from killing the Clockwork alone, not including the kills from the fight up in the top jungle. So while it definitely doesn't make them on even footing, it gives some much needed net worth to the cores of Execution here, and he was able to finish off his treads finally and pick up the Blink Dagger. So they're officially starting to get some items, so hopefully they're able to use those to create space and get back into this game.
100%, but I'm not sure it's enough. I mean, we look over the net worth charts, they're still sitting over 15,000 net worth lead for Firestarters, over 10,000 experience. Just to compare, this is Rubik still being level 6, the supports higher than 3 of the heroes on Execution. SF is level 15 when Ember is level 11. The trade-off for mid is going to be you get levels while they get farm, and it's just not happening. So
Canada getting spotted out in the jungle there as Shadow Fiend farms up the dire jungle, and it's 2 shots and he explodes.
now Ember Spirit's in a little bit of the wrong part of town. He's just gonna casually be bombing as he can, since he has a Remnant active, but their entire jungle invaded by enemies, and there's gonna be Viking going down again. I mean, he did just get a big boon in those kills. He needs so much more to be online. Sven is a hero that needs a crap ton of farm.
And there's just nowhere for him to get it.
Yeah, Dark Kite. I mean, the Witch Doctor having a blink at like 14 minutes into the game, I think that may have just been sealing the deal.
I was looking for Witch Doctor. I'm like, oh, the lion. Right, that guy.
So, sorry, I keep saying Witch Doctor, don't I? This is a weird habit I have. For some reason, I call Lion Witch Doctor. We don't know why. I like, actually have no idea why I call him Witch Doctor. They don't look similar.
I confuse the Witch Doctor and the Dazzle all the time, so I'm right there with you.
It's just one of those brain connections things where for some reason my brain has connected the two. Now, Firestarter's doing the smart play. They're gonna go for Roshan. Execution is actually moving towards it as if they can contest, but considering that individual heroes of theirs could just be picked off by the heroes not doing Roshan, and as I say that, we got a hook shot onto my dudes. He's taking quite a bit of damage. He could actually just charge out. He decides to charge in. He needs to walk away now, but before he can, he takes a finger. The Roshan's almost done as well. And a clean kill for them. I think that Execution need to hide in their base.
You have Canada up in the top lane, desperately looking to get some solo experience there. But the rest of the heroes have to clump together. They have to stay as 4. They have to stay as 5. And when you do that, you're splitting farm, you're splitting experience, and as you mentioned, Sven is a hero who needs a ton of it, and without it, he's not going to be able to stand up to just the massive damage coming out from
Guess what's happening
the
at the
currently overpowered Firestarter lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking grim, and Firestarter, they have what they want and need to go high ground. Shadowfiend about to casually have an MKB, if I'm seeing this correctly.
Big towers coming apart.
Not what I was expecting out of him so early, since I do believe there is no evasion, but he may decided that it's what he wants over a Deso. It's a lot of damage.
Through the dire structures for now. Radiant
Yep, it looks like that is the way he's going. Bit of an odd pickup, but when you're so far ahead, you can play around with your build and have fun with it.
Yeah. I actually think the Deso, if you're going to play around a little bit better, it is a lot more damage, but with the Tombstone down, holy Canada, they are going to...
For half of a second.
Yeah, and there's also the zoning cooldown. Canada has managed to steal it, so that was actually his cooldown, but Canada auto attack down. There's going to be a stun out onto Darkheit, and while the Sven, he's trying to dismantle people, but he is dismantled by the Clockwork. Wouldn't be surprised if we see the GGs come out soon.
Yeah, they can't stand up to this for long, and this is going to be at least one, most likely two, maybe even three lanes of Rex. And you can see the pings out from Firestarter now as they rotate mid. But that fight there, defending the high ground, they were just completely spread out on the side of Execution eSports. You had the Sven pretty much in the front lines by himself, and he can't tank right now. He doesn't have enough survivability to stand up to Arima and Clar's heavy damage output.
Yeah. So we've got two sets of racks going down. Husky's trying to do what damage he can. He's very close to that Battle Fury, but you still need a damage item off that. And while Ember Spirit traditionally a hero that you're okay with dealing with megas, not when you have no damage. So there's gonna be a nice little telekinesis, and the Shadowfiend's taking a lot of damage, but of course he's feeling comfortable with that since he has the Aegis. Final fight, charge coming out of Kupo, they kill him at the dazzle, but immediate hookshot, there's a cooldown to boot. Everybody's going down to the lineup with Execution. Shadowfiend living on a slither of health, and let's not forget, he's got Aegis. He's gonna go down, no Death Requiem there. They finally kill off the Gyrocopter. Darkheit is rocking a lot of health, but one more auto attack from the Lion, and he goes down, and now Shadowfiend dismantling this last Rax, and it's gonna be GG's, I have to imagine. Nice Nether Strike, and now there's gonna be a Remnant Bomb onto the Shadowfiend. Can they get this kill before the game ends? They've even got Urn Charges, but Death Requiem killing off the poor Spirit Breaker, and Clockwork is...
I like Clockwork. He's just ignoring all of this fight around him. Doesn't care. Objective gaming, he's just going to casually right-click it down as much as his little mechanical arms will allow him.
He may fall here, but again, they just got 5 Raxes off of that fight, so I don't think that they worry at all on Firestarters. This game is nigh impossible to throw. 30,000 net worth lead, 15,000 experience lead. It's done, so it's in the bag.
Yeah, I can't think of any sort of play. Even if you wanted to go with the YOLO Divine on Sven or something, he can't afford it. He's sitting on 400 gold, and it's just not available to him. He can't get to the jungle because all of his lanes are going to be pushing in. It's they're dead men walking right now, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. So, gonna be a bit of a rough ride for Execution, albeit they did just get a bit more gold. Sven going for that BKB. Oh goodness, because of those 2 kills, Ember actually gets the full Battle Fury and then the Chrysalis, but of course Shadowfiend finishing an MKB. Yule's now up on Lion as well. Good ways to dodge that damage, and there's just... initially I didn't think the Lion would be enough lockdown, but they're so far ahead, it's more than enough.
Yep, there's not... The cores from Execution haven't presented enough of a threat that Lions had to make those Sophie's Choice decisions as to which hero to lock down. There's pretty much at any given time just one hero that they're dealing with while everyone else is running for their lives, and so he just locks down that one threat.
Speaking of running for your lives, there's gonna be a Requiem of Soul up. Nobody actually hooks to the wrong hero, and Ember's gonna be out. Does burn
that long right click.
What will it do? Okay, it wasn't. I mean, he doesn't have crits, so it wasn't gonna be that big, but I wanted to check how big the long range right click was. And yeah, we see the final push maybe coming out. They have creeps coming in a number of places, so this top rack's not looking so great. It is a melee rack, so it can take a bit more of a beating. They're taking apart my boots. There's gonna be a fade bolt coming out, but too little too late. Rubik does in fact go down already. Got packed soon to follow. Tombstone just being more of a nuisance, and that's the GG call.
And there's the GG call. Not without giving away one more Tombstone for good measure, though. That had to be, I'd say, 900 gold at least going to Gyrocopter from Tombstones alone
So
throughout the
I
game.
think Execution they definitely tried to put up a fight, but it does feel like Firestarters are just, they won every single lane. Might be draft, might just be that Firestarters something good.
Firestarters have been playing well. Like I said, throughout this entire Season 9 of AD2L, they've only dropped 2 games. That was to Lavender eSports, and it was 2 weeks ago, I believe. They faced off against Lavender in the playoffs and beat them handily there as well. So they are on the rise and playing very strong Dota these days.
Yeah. So once again, folks, thank you all for watching. We were doing some coverage of Amateur Dota 2 League. You can all check that out another time. They seem to be pretty chill. I'm Llama Down Under. I was joined by Darmin Cost. His name is on the screen. You can check out his Twitter. And I'm sure either of us would love any and all feedback on how to get better. This is some kind of chill late night casting, and yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we should. Other than that, I think I'm done for the night. I don't know if you have more stuff going on, but I think I'm done for the night and hope to see you all next time. So do you have anything else going on, or are you also out?
I'll probably just be hanging out over at twitch.tv/DarminCast and playing some pub Dota myself. So feel free to come on over, say hello, hang out, and join me in some bad Dota.
Oh yeah, bad Dota is the Dota we all play. So peace
Absolutely.
out, folks, and see you next time.
See ya.